Hi my dear friends, and welcome back to another Star Wars news update. It's 3 days until Christmas and 1 week exactly until the Book of Boba Fett. And in today's video, my dear friends, we have some really big updates. We're going to be talking about the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, believe it or not, Maz Kanata Returning, Jedi Fallen Order 2, and more. So without much further ado and without any more jibber jabber, let's just dive straight into it. So we begin with some awesome news for the Kenobi series. Deborah Chow, the showrunner of the series, has cast Star Wars fans as extras, and this apparently serves two purposes: to allow fans a chance to be part of the galaxy far, far away, but also to bring impressive props to the set, while also helping in constructing the droids. Maya Erskine broke this news on the Just for Variety podcast, and it's been making the rounds, so let's talk about it. To help expand the ensemble of Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi, the series enlisted the help of, quote, devout fanatics to portray extras. Not only was this the opportunity to give back to the community, but it also served a practical purpose, as reaching out to droid builders meant the series could easily incorporate impressive props that conveyed an authenticity and diversity for the galaxy's mechanical creations. And speaking of droid builders, in case you don't know, this is very reminiscent of what George Lucas did. In 2003, George Lucas asked fans to pick the paint scheme on Obi-Wan's new R4 unit. As you know, R4G9 replaced R4P17, but while making Revenge of the Sith, he wanted to know what paint scheme fans wanted. So when I read this article about Lucasfilm asking droid constructors to be involved in the Kenobi series, it evoked memories of that very famous poll that George Lucas did. So speaking about Star Wars fans as extras on Obi-Wan Kenobi, Maya Erskine said the following: the extras were incredible on set, and a lot of them were mega Star Wars fans. One guy, he was so nice and he lifted up his sleeves and had Star Wars tattoos all over his body, and they build droids. There are a lot of Star Wars fans that build droids, and then the production companies will rent them from fans. Maya Erskine has an unknown role in the Kenobi series and was a late addition to the casting. Now, I absolutely love hearing about this kind of news because, let's be real, it's been a bumpy few years for the relationship between Lucasfilm and Star Wars fans. I guess you could say it's a way for them to show they care about fans, especially for a series like Obi-Wan Kenobi, which is centered around the two biggest legacy characters in this franchise, or at least two of the biggest. And when it comes to casting fans, the same thing happened for The Mandalorian Season 3, where they cast local fans to fill numerous Mandalorian costumes. Excellent stuff, and as we edge closer to 2022, the Kenobi series is just around the corner. I saw someone mention this yesterday, and it's absolutely right. When the Obi-Wan Kenobi trailer drops, it's going to break the internet. All the focus right now is on the Book of Boba Fett, which, as I say, is exactly 1 week away. But when that's done, Kenobi is going to be the center of attention as the next big upcoming Star Wars series. We don't know when it's coming out, if it's going to be right after the Book of Boba Fett, but I would suspect, as I mentioned the other day, we have the Bad Batch Season 2 before then. I'll keep you guys updated on every bit of news in the build-up. So now, my dear Mandalorians, we're going to talk about something perhaps a bit more obscure, but something which is worth addressing nonetheless. According to Making Star Wars Net, and also reported by other outlets, including Tatooine Podcast and HoloNet's Marauders, Maz Kanata is returning to Star Wars in one of the upcoming shows. The problem is, there is a lot of uncertainty as to which one. Making Star Wars say they've seen Maz's castle being set up, i.e. the one on Takodana which we first saw in The Force Awakens, and while they, along with others, first reckoned it was for the Book of Boba Fett, they now believe it's for the Andor series. Rumours of Maz Kanata being explored in a time period earlier than the sequels began in the lead up to The Mandalorian Season 2. But given the announcement last December of the range of upcoming series, an idea that Filoni may have had initially for The Mandalorian may be transposed in a different show. Tatooine Podcast made a point of stating that they've heard Maz Kanata's castle, along with Maz herself, Han Solo and Luke, will appear in the Book of Boba Fett, and in light of an Easter egg in Battlefront 2, where we see what looks to be Slave 1 in front of the castle on Takodana, maybe Lucasfilm wanted to tie this little gem into live action and give it some backstory. But Making Star Wars now think it could instead be for the Andor series. So as you can see, while many sources agree that Maz Kanata is an idea Lucasfilm have, there is disagreement over which show she may appear in. Being over 1,000 years old and of an unknown species, plus her knowledge of the Force without directly being a Jedi, it was inevitable that her character was set up by J.J. Abrams to later be explored in a future project. And while many Star Wars fans who didn't like her character in the sequels will be upset if they include her, I can actually see her being an interesting addition to the timeline after Return of the Jedi, but before the sequels. And to contrast, if she's in the Andor series, then we're dealing with the post-prequel era, and that time period could work as well, given the different setting and time in the galaxy. Now, you might not have liked her in light of Rey's story or the story of the sequels in general, but placing her in a different time period in the story could change how you perceive her. She is clearly a character full of wisdom and life experience, and personally, I think she could work very well in a series like the Book of Boba Fett, because in a large way, she is part of that galaxy's underbelly. I mean, even the fact that she has the nickname the Pirate Queen also evokes the prospect of her having known Hondo Ohnaka at some stage. So I'm not opposed to them including her in a future story, whichever series she may appear in. So now, my dear friends, we're going to be talking about Dave Filoni, who spoke about the Book of Boba Fett in an interview yesterday. I'm just going to highlight the main points and leave out all of the jibber jabber. So Filoni says, Robert Rodriguez brings an intensity to the show, combined with John's writing and whatever it is I bring to Star Wars, sometimes I pinch myself. I'm so glad to be there and involved. But having Robert involved gives it a different type of edge than what John and I did with Mando without him, so that's been a perfect addition to our process. He then says, obviously you saw at the end of The Mandalorian Season 2, Fennec is a strong ally of Boba Fett, and we're going to understand why that is. Filoni promises viewers we're going to see more sides of Fennec in the Book of Boba Fett, and he states she's a skilled assassin in her own right. Things change, lives change, characters evolve, and you need someone like Ming-Na Wen that can deliver not just the action, but the subtlety and the depth that a character like Fennec needs in a series. He finishes by saying, Temuera and her have an incredible chemistry. We're just a few short days away now from unwrapping this present, and we're so glad we could give it to the fans. And evidently, my dear friends, based on how massive the surprises in this show are going to be, I'm sure this present is going to be the best one we get this Christmas. And so finally, my dear friends, let's talk about Jedi Fallen Order 2, the sequel we've all been waiting for. The big question we all have is, when can we expect it? And also, why the silent treatment? Fallen Order fans are beginning to become anxious about when the game's sequel is going to be announced. The single-player title was a smash hit for EA when it was released in 2019. However, with EA's Star Wars license expiring in 2023, the publisher has little time to produce, let alone announce, Jedi Fallen Order 2. So far, EA has confirmed there is going to be a sequel, and possibly more games after that to come. In a 2021 earnings call, EA said it would continue to invest in Fallen Order, meaning it has franchise potential in and of itself. But the clock is ticking, and to date, EA is still confident there will be a Jedi Fallen Order 2 before the exclusivity deal ends. Now, the most likely date for Jedi Fallen Order 2 to be announced is July of 2022. This is because in July of 2021, EA prefaced the EA Play Live event on Twitter by stating that it plans to share some major news on the future of Star Wars games the following year. Considering that Jedi Fallen Order 2 is at the center of recent news regarding EA Star Wars titles, 2022's EA Play Live will probably be dedicated to formally announcing the game. So July of this coming year is a possibility for an announcement, but we simply do not know. Now, in either case, whether this happens sooner or later, I really hope we get to see Cal Kestis in some form in a future project. Whether that's in the gaming setting like Fallen Order 2, or in a live-action project, I think there's so much potential for Cameron Monaghan. And of course, his trusted, adorable companion, BD1. So with all of that, my dear friends, that is today's news roundup. Let me know your thoughts of everything we spoke about in the comments down below. Are you excited to get Jedi Fallen Order 2 at some stage in the future? Are you hyped for the Kenobi series and the Book of Boba Fett? And what do you think about the possible return of Maz Kanata? Let me know down below, and if you enjoyed this one, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you're brand new, and also be sure to check out my Patreon. The link is down there in the description, and on there you get exclusive videos not found here on YouTube, as well as getting access to the Discord server, and so much more. But otherwise, may the Force be with you all. I'm Meg, also known as Star Wars Meg, and I'll see you in the next one.